Hey everyone, and welcome back to the KenkoVibe podcast. I'm Ethan Reed, and I am so excited for today's deep dive. We're tackling a topic that honestly impacts every single one of us: metabolism.
I'm Grace Morgan, and I'm thrilled to be here. It's true, metabolism is like this unsung hero working behind the scenes 24/7. It's constantly converting everything we eat and drink into the fuel we need to function, from just breathing to, you know, thinking to even crushing a workout.
Okay, so let's break it down. We're talking about a pretty complex system, right? Not just like some calorie-burning button we can press.
Right. It's dynamic, a two-part process, really. First, you've got anabolism, which I like to think of as the construction crew of your body, constantly building and storing energy. So that's like building muscle after you hit the gym.
Got it. Building things up. What's the other side?
That would be catabolism.
Yeah.
Like the demolition crew, breaking down all those stored resources so you have energy when you need it. Picture yourself running a race. That's catabolism in action, breaking down those energy stores to keep you going.
So like a constant cycle of building and breaking down all happening inside us all the time. Pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. But there's this thing I always hear about, basal metabolic rate, or BMR. What is that exactly, and why is it so important?
Well, your BMR is essentially the minimum amount of energy your body needs just to function at rest. So even if you were just lying in bed all day, your body's still working hard. It's breathing, circulating your blood, keeping your organs running, even maintaining your body temperature. All of that requires energy.
So even when we're relaxing, we're still burning calories just to stay alive.
Mm.
I have a friend, though, eats anything they want and never seems to gain an ounce. Me, I feel like I have to watch every calorie. Is that BMR or something else going on?
BMR definitely varies from person to person. Age, sex, how much muscle mass you have, even your genes all play a role. But here's something important. While BMR can slow down a little as we age, it's not the main reason we might see those extra pounds creeping up as we get older.
Interesting. So what is the real reason we might see our metabolism slowing down with age?
Often it's a combination of things. We tend to be less active as we get older, and we might start to lose muscle mass. And muscle is a calorie-burning powerhouse. It burns more calories than fat even when you're at rest.
So it's not so much about age itself, but more about the lifestyle changes that can come with it. Makes
Sure.
sense. But let's be real. A lot of us tend to blame our metabolism for weight fluctuations. Is it fair to blame our metabolism when the numbers on the scale go up or down?
Oh, it's so tempting to blame our metabolism, right? But the truth is, our weight is the result of this really complex interplay of factors: genetics, hormones, what we eat, our sleep, even how stressed we are and how much we move. They all contribute to the equation.
So it's not as simple as fast metabolism equals thin and slow metabolism equals weight gain.
You got it. Someone might have a naturally faster metabolism but still struggle with their weight if their lifestyle choices aren't aligned with their body's needs. Ultimately, it boils down to the balance between the calories we're taking in and the calories we're burning.
That makes sense. What about all those crash diets we see everywhere, the ones that promise super fast weight loss? Do those actually work long term?
That's where things get a little tricky. Severely restricting calories can actually backfire on your metabolism. When you drastically cut your calorie intake, your body goes into survival mode, like there's a famine
Oh,
happening.
wow. So it starts holding on to every single calorie it can get.
Exactly. It slows down your BMR to conserve energy, which makes it even harder to lose weight in the long run. It can really mess with your body's natural balance.
That's fascinating. So we can't just manipulate our metabolism overnight. It's more about understanding it and working with it. But if it's not just one thing, what factors have the biggest influence? What makes our metabolism unique?
Let's start with our genes. Our genes lay the foundation. Some people just naturally have more muscle mass or different calorie needs based solely on their genetics.
So we inherit a certain metabolic starting point. But if we can't change our genes, what about other things we can control, like our diet? Are there foods or eating patterns that can boost our metabolism?
You see a lot of claims about miracle foods that supposedly rev up your metabolism, but honestly, it's just not that simple. There's no magic bullet when it comes to food and your metabolism.
That's a bummer. So are there any ways to eat that at least support a healthy metabolism?
Absolutely. The key is focusing on a balanced diet that gives your body the nutrients it needs to thrive. That means getting enough protein, healthy fats, those complex carbohydrates that provide sustained energy. Think whole grains, fruits, vegetables, the good stuff.
So instead of looking for that one magical food, it's about building an overall dietary pattern that supports our health, which in turn supports our metabolism. What about the timing of meals? Does when we eat matter as much as what we eat?
Consistency is key. Our bodies like routine, and that includes regular meal times. Skipping meals or going long stretches without eating can signal to your body to slow down your metabolism to conserve energy. It's like slamming on the brakes.
So no more skipping breakfast or lunch, even if we're busy. What about intermittent fasting? It seems like everyone's doing it these days. Does that boost metabolism?
Intermittent fasting has definitely become popular, and some studies do suggest potential benefits for metabolism, weight, even blood sugar control. It's basically cycling between periods of eating and fasting.
So not depriving yourself, but strategically choosing when you eat.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Intermittent fasting isn't for everyone. You should definitely talk to your doctor before trying it, especially if you have any health conditions. It's about finding what works best for your body.
That makes sense. Always best to consult a professional before making any big dietary changes. Okay, switching gears for a second. Sleep. We all know it's important, but what does sleep really have to do with our metabolism?
Sleep is absolutely vital for a healthy metabolism. While you sleep, your body's hard at work repairing tissue, regulating hormones, all sorts of essential functions.
So if we're skimping on sleep, we're throwing a wrench into our metabolism's gears.
You got it. Lack of sleep can really mess with our blood sugar regulation, which can increase cravings for those sugary, high-calorie foods. Plus, it can boost cortisol, the stress hormone, which can lead to weight gain and other metabolic issues.
Speaking of stress, can't forget about its impact on metabolism,
So
right?
definitely not. Chronic stress puts your body in this constant state of high alert, constantly pumping out cortisol. Over time, that can disrupt your metabolic processes, making it harder to lose weight and increasing your risk for other health problems.
So managing stress is just as important as getting enough sleep and eating a balanced diet for metabolic health.
Absolutely. Finding healthy ways to cope with stress, like yoga, meditation, spending time outdoors, even just taking a few minutes to breathe deeply, can make a huge difference in your well-being, including your metabolism.
Feeling calmer already.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, though, I want to talk about exercise. What role does it play in boosting our metabolic rate?
Exercise is like hitting the gas pedal on your metabolism. It burns calories during and after your workout. The key, though, strength training is crucial for building and maintaining muscle mass.
Wait a minute. I thought cardio was the king of calorie burning. Why is strength training so important for metabolism?
Cardio is fantastic for your heart and for calorie expenditure, no doubt. But strength training helps you build that calorie-burning muscle we've been talking about. Muscle burns more calories at rest than fat, so the more muscle you have, the more efficiently your body burns calories, even when you're not working out.
So more muscle equals higher metabolic rate, even when I'm just relaxing on the couch. I love that.
Exactly. Plus, strength training helps improve your insulin sensitivity, which means your body uses glucose more efficiently.
Okay, strength training sounds like a no-brainer.
Mm.
But when some people hear metabolism, they immediately think of things like metabolic disorders. Are those just extreme versions of the fluctuations we all experience?
It's a great question. Metabolic disorders are a bit different. They're medical conditions that disrupt the normal chemical processes involved in your metabolism. They often stem from genetics or enzyme deficiencies, and they affect how our bodies process specific nutrients or substances.
So they're distinct from those normal, everyday variations in metabolic rate we all experience.
Precisely. Phenylketonuria, or PKU for example, affects your body's ability to break down a particular amino acid, while galactosemia impairs the breakdown of a specific sugar. These conditions require specialized diets and medical management.
Got it. So metabolic disorders are more complex and need specific medical intervention. What about metabolic syndrome? I've heard that term thrown around a lot lately. How does that fit in?
Great point. Metabolic syndrome isn't a single disease, but more like a cluster of risk factors that increase your chances of developing serious health issues down the line. Things like heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes.
So it's not a disorder in itself, but a group of conditions that should raise a red flag.
Exactly. High blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess belly fat, high cholesterol, and triglycerides. These things together spell trouble for your metabolic health.
Wow. This has been an eye-opening deep dive so far. We've covered so much,
Mm.
from the basics of metabolism to what influences it and why lifestyle choices are so important.
Totally agree. It's fascinating to see how much control we have over our metabolic health, even if we can't control everything.
Absolutely. And we've still got more to discuss. In the next part of our deep dive, we're going to get into some practical tips for boosting your metabolism and tackling those common metabolic challenges. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the KenkoVibe podcast. We're continuing our deep dive into the fascinating world of metabolism.
In part one, we busted some serious myths and really set the stage for understanding this whole intricate process, right?
Yeah, we talked about all those key things that impact our metabolism: genes, age, what we eat, sleep habits, how much we move, even stress levels.
But now let's get practical. What everyone wants to know is how can we actually boost our metabolism? Are there real things we can do to make a difference?
Absolutely. It all starts with getting moving. Increasing your physical activity is honestly one of the most effective ways to give your metabolism a nudge in the right direction. And as we discussed, it's not just about spending hours on the treadmill.
You're talking about strength training, right?
Yeah.
Time to hit the
You
weights.
got it. Strength training is all about building and maintaining that precious muscle mass, and as we know, muscle is a key player in a healthy metabolism. Remember, muscle burns more calories even when you're just resting than fat does, so the more muscle you have, the more efficiently your body burns calories, even when you're just kicking back.
So the more muscle we build, the more we become like these calorie-burning machines,
Right.
even when we're not actively working out. Okay, I'm liking this. But how much strength training are we talking about?
Aim for at least 2 strength training sessions a week, hitting all the major muscle groups. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. As you get stronger, gradually increase the weight you're lifting or the resistance you're using.
So strength training is a must-have for a revved-up metabolism.
Yeah.
But what about cardio? Does that still have a place in our plan?
For sure. Cardio is fantastic for burning calories and keeping your heart healthy. Think brisk walking, running, swimming, cycling. It also helps you build endurance so you can exercise harder and longer.
Okay, so strength training for muscle building, cardio for burning calories, and heart health. Any other tricks we can use to give our metabolism that extra edge?
Let's talk about sleep. I know, we've all heard it before, but getting enough quality sleep is crucial for a healthy metabolism.
I think we're all guilty of sacrificing sleep sometimes, especially when we're juggling a million things.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's just as important as what we eat and how much we exercise.
Without a doubt. When you're sleep deprived, your body kind of freaks out. It starts producing more cortisol, that stress hormone, which messes with blood sugar regulation and can make you crave all those sugary, high-calorie foods.
Ah, so that's why we get those late-night snack attacks. But how much sleep are we talking about?
Try to aim for a solid 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night. Set a consistent sleep schedule if you can. Create a relaxing bedtime routine. Make sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool.
That sounds like a good plan for a good night's sleep and a happy metabolism.
Mm.
Okay, now let's talk food. We know there's no magic bullet,
Yeah.
but how can we eat in a way that supports our metabolism?
Absolutely. Make protein your best friend at every meal. Protein takes more energy to digest than carbs or fats.
Gotcha. So we're not just chugging protein shakes. What are some good sources of protein?
Think lean protein sources like fish, chicken, turkey, beans, lentils, tofu, even low-fat dairy. Don't forget about eggs. They're packed with nutrients.
Okay, what about carbohydrates? Are we avoiding those if we want to keep our metabolism in check?
Not at all. Carbs are important for energy. They're our body's main source of fuel. The key is to choose the right kind. Complex carbohydrates instead of the refined ones.
Okay, so complex carbs versus refined carbs. What's the difference?
Complex carbs like whole grains, fruits, vegetables, legumes, they take a longer to digest. They give you sustained energy and keep you feeling fuller for longer. Refined carbs like white bread, pastries, sugary drinks, those get digested really quickly, which can cause blood sugar spikes and crashes, and you end up feeling hungry again way too soon.
So swap that white bagel and sugary cereal for some oatmeal, whole grain toast, or fruit with yogurt. Got it. What about fat? Are all fats bad when it comes to our metabolism?
Not at all. In fact, healthy fats are super important for your body. They're important for hormone production, for your cells to function properly, and for your overall well-being. The trick is choosing the right kind of fats. Unsaturated fats, oversaturated, and trans fats.
So healthy fats, what foods are we talking about?
Think avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Those are your metabolism-friendly fats. They can even help improve your cholesterol levels and reduce inflammation.
This is making me hungry. Okay, protein, complex carbs, healthy fats, got it. What about when we eat? Does the timing and how often we eat impact our metabolism?
Consistency is king, remember. Try to eat regular meals and snacks throughout the day, maybe every 3 or 4 hours. That helps keep your blood sugar levels stable and prevents energy dips, which can make you overeat.
So no more skipping meals, got it. What about portion sizes?
For sure. Even the healthiest foods can lead to weight gain if you eat too much. Listen to your body. Eat when you're hungry. Stop when you're comfortably full.
All great advice. But life happens. We have busy schedules, we go to parties, and sometimes those cravings just win. Any tips for staying on track with our metabolism goals when things get crazy?
First of all, don't be too hard on yourself. It's okay to indulge sometimes, or if you miss a workout here or there. The key is to not let those slip-ups completely derail you.
So it's okay to have a slice of birthday cake or miss a workout now and then.
Exactly. Just get back on track with your healthy habits at your next meal, or the next time you can. Consistency is what matters most.
I like that. Progress over perfection. What about stress? We know it can wreak havoc on our metabolism, but what can we do to manage stress in a way that actually helps our metabolism?
Stress management is a game changer for your overall health, including your metabolism. Find things that help you unwind. Yoga, meditation, spending time in nature, reading, listening to music, whatever brings you joy and helps you relax.
I'm already feeling more zen.
Ah,
Okay, we've covered a lot. Exercise, sleep, diet, stress management. It feels like everything's connected when it comes to metabolism. Is there anything else we should be mindful of?
you know what people often overlook? Hydration. Staying hydrated is actually super important for all those metabolic processes happening in your body. Make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day.
Okay, we hear that a lot, but why is water so important?
Think of it like your body's transportation system. Water carries nutrients to your cells, regulates body temperature, and helps get rid of waste products. If you get dehydrated, it can slow down your metabolism and make you feel tired and sluggish.
So keep that water bottle handy. Got it. Any other drinks we should be avoiding if we want to support our metabolism?
Yeah, sugary drinks are a no-go. They're loaded with empty calories and can really mess with your blood sugar levels, which over time can throw your metabolism off balance.
So no soda, sweetened juices, or those fancy sugary coffee drinks.
Exactly. Stick with water, unsweetened tea, or plain coffee. If you need a little sweetness, add a splash of natural fruit juice or a few slices of fresh fruit to your water.
This is all great advice. I'm feeling much more knowledgeable about how to take control of my metabolic health. But what about people who are trying their best but still not seeing the results they want? What if you're doing all the right things?
That's a really good question. It's important to remember that everybody is different. What works for one person might not work for another. If you're making an effort but not seeing the results you want, it might be time to reach out to a professional.
So talk to a doctor or maybe your registered dietitian.
Exactly. They can help figure out if there are any underlying issues and create a personalized plan just for you. They can provide support and accountability too.
I can see how that extra help and guidance would be really valuable, especially with something as complex as our metabolism. This deep dive has been so informative. But before we get to the final part of this episode, there's something a lot of our listeners are probably wondering about.
That's that.
Well, we've talked about how metabolism changes as we get older, but are there any specific things we can do as we age to keep our metabolism healthy? I'm thinking about those listeners in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. And welcome back to the KenkoVibe podcast for the final part of our deep dive into all things metabolism.
We've covered so much already. You know, from the basics of what metabolism even is to those little tweaks we can make to give it a boost.
And, as we wrap things up, it's important to acknowledge that it's not always smooth sailing for everyone.
Yeah, that's true. There can be some bumps in the road.
So let's switch gears a bit and talk about some of the common metabolic challenges people might face. And more importantly, what can they do about it?
Okay, sounds good. One of the biggest things we hear about is difficulty losing weight, even when people feel like they're doing everything right.
Yeah, I think we've all been there at some point. You're eating healthy, exercising, managing your stress, but the scale just won't budge.
Right. And it's so important to remember that weight loss isn't just about your metabolism. It's a much more complex process. There's a whole bunch of factors at play.
Exactly. Genetics, hormones, lifestyle choices, how well you sleep. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Right. So if you're struggling to lose weight, it's crucial to take a step back and look at the big picture instead of just focusing on cutting calories.
So we need to zoom out and see all the pieces of the puzzle.
Exactly. Take a look at your diet. Are you getting enough protein? That's important for muscle growth and repair. What about fiber? Are you getting enough of that to keep things moving? Are you choosing healthy fats over unhealthy ones? And are you limiting processed foods and sugary drinks?
Makes sense. What about exercise? Is there a type that's better for weight loss?
Well, like we talked about, strength training is great for building muscle, which is like a calorie-burning powerhouse. But cardio is still important for burning those calories and keeping your heart strong and healthy.
So the best approach is to combine strength training and cardio.
Exactly. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity cardio every week. Things like brisk walking or cycling. Or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity cardio, like running or high-intensity interval training. And don't forget those strength training sessions 2 to 3 times a week.
And we can't forget about sleep.
Yeah.
We talked about how lack of sleep can affect our metabolism. So
Uh,
is prioritizing sleep key when we're trying to manage our weight?
Absolutely. You really want to aim for that 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night. And managing stress is important too. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, which can lead to weight gain and make it harder to lose those extra pounds.
So all those stress-reducing activities we talked about before, yoga, meditation, being out in nature, those aren't just for relaxation. They can actually help us manage our weight too.
Exactly. And if you've been trying to lose weight but just can't seem to make any progress, it might be a good idea to talk to a professional.
Yeah, like a doctor or a registered dietitian.
Right. They can help you figure out what's going on and create a plan that's just for you.
It's great to know there's help available if we need it.
Yeah.
Okay, switching gears a little bit. We've talked a lot about how we can influence our metabolism, but what about things that are out of our control? Like, I've heard that hypothyroidism, which is an underactive thyroid gland, can affect metabolism. Is that true?
It is. Your thyroid produces hormones that regulate your metabolism, so when it's underactive, it doesn't produce enough of those hormones, which can slow your metabolism down.
So someone with hypothyroidism might have a harder time losing weight, even if they're doing all the right things.
Exactly. They might also feel really tired all the time, have a sensitivity to cold, and have other symptoms too. If you think you might have hypothyroidism, it's super important to talk to your doctor and get tested.
And what about the opposite? Hyperthyroidism or an overactive thyroid. Does that affect metabolism too?
It does. Hyperthyroidism speeds up your metabolism, which can cause unintentional weight loss, a rapid heartbeat, and some other symptoms as well.
So both an underactive and overactive thyroid can disrupt our metabolism.
Yes. The main takeaway here is that if you're having any unusual symptoms, things like sudden weight changes, fatigue, or changes in your heart rate, it's a good idea to check in with your doctor just to make sure there isn't an underlying medical condition.
This deep dive into metabolism has been so fascinating. We've learned a lot about this complex process and how important it is for our overall health.
Yeah, and we've learned that we can make choices every day that support our metabolic health. We're not just along for the ride, we can actually steer the ship.
Exactly.
Right.
From the food we eat, to how much we move, to how well we sleep and how we manage stress, we have so many tools at our disposal to support our metabolism throughout our lives.
And you know, it's never too late to start making those positive changes. Even small changes can have a big impact in the long run.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive on metabolism. We hope you found it helpful and empowering.
And remember, knowledge is power when it comes to your health. Keep learning, and don't be afraid to ask your healthcare providers for guidance and support.
If you liked today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the KenkoVibe podcast and share it with your friends and family. I'm Ethan Reed,
And I'm Grace Morgan.
and we'll catch you on the next deep dive into another fascinating health topic.